Okay, welcome to part 2. All right, so there's just so much to go into. Okay, so there's vocal chops in here. There's there's the bells that come in, and then the lead. You can barely hear, but all this is playing on the backdrop of the chords. All right, and then there's a bunch of reverse effects that I talked about before. This is very common. So I just make those from whatever the instrument is that's about to drop, whether it's a lead, whether it's a vocal, whatever it may be. You can take that beginning part of it, put a ton of reverb on it, flip it, and then play it, and it'll create this reverse sweeping sound into whatever the sound it is. So it doesn't have to be vocals; it can be chords. Okay, so it goes into like this darker. So the beginning is optimistic; it's building into something. The drop comes in, and it's kind of like this, like nostalgic, but also, triumphant type of feeling. But then you have the drop where the story comes in and you kind of feel like low, you feel sad, almost melancholy, because of these, because the counter melody here plays by itself. With the switched up slower drum pattern and a very slow bass line, it creates kind of like a slower tone. It basically cuts the BPM of 115 down in half, which is super slow. So that's without the chords. This is with it. So there's other stuff going on here, but after that slow part, it kind of like levels off and then goes back into a second build. The arps in this section are really nice because they really come in at a perfect time, and they're a lot more audible than other parts of the song, but they sound like this. And that's another Tal noisemaker patch. And then throughout this, my vocals are coming in. They're adding kind of like a human level to it. A lot of electronic songs are really nice. I really enjoy them, but sometimes they sound a bit stale in terms of, you kind of, I like the balance between electronic sounds, digital sounds, and a more analog / like human natural sound. And so that's why I kind of like put these things in here, even though the vocals don't really have any meaning and they're auto-tuned to crap. They kind of add a human element to it. Okay, so second build. Okay, so what you're hearing in the background and on the sides is going to be my beatboxing, since those are panned left and right. So that's going on in the background. So this is the second build-up, and this build-up leads to an outro that I love. Like when I wrote this outro, I tried so hard to take it and make it the drop. I tried to make it the hook. The song doesn't really have a hook, but I tried to make it the drop, and it didn't work. It felt so much better at the end. And I knew that if I were to do that, a lot of people would miss it, since, you know, a lot of people kind of like stopped listening after the drop. But at the same time, I was like, you know, it just sounds better here. If people miss it, they miss it. But this ending outro is like my favorite part of the song. So what really drives that part there are these really nice bells from FL Studios, Harmless, and it sounds like this. So that's really accomplished by playing the chords, having them, you know, very short, and I don't even know what the term is for that. And then having a second layer on top of that same instrument, but you know, just kind of like, it's almost like dripping like spice on it. So here's it without the high end. Okay, and then here's the high end by itself. You put that together, you get. And then of course, to have a really nice foundation on that, you have the chords to go with it. And then what really drives this is the beat. The beat with this bass at the end, but with the bells. That's what really drives this. Okay, so it ends here. And that ending really is just a cut of everything before that without the arps. And then the ARP plays. That's it. So yeah, in future videos I'll go through like the mixing. The mixing on this was pretty difficult, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like all the technical stuff doesn't really matter if the song isn't good. I have songs that I love and they took me like an hour or two to make. This one I probably put in 40, 50 hours. You know, and it's not a direct correlation to, you know, how much people actually like the song. And especially not to like how many plays the song actually gets. So I try to remember that when I get kind of like too deep into the weeds and, you know, go kind of crazy with doing things that people will never notice. But anyway, the time is almost up for the second part already. So I'm going to leave this here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This is week number 2, The Glory. I'm really most active here and on YouTube. So I don't really post anything on Facebook. This is kind of like just a linked account for Facebook. So yeah, like the video. If you guys can go over there and subscribe to me on YouTube, that's where I'll be posting more in-depth videos. So week number 2, so far so good, nothing crazy, but I've learned a lot already. And you know, next week the song is called Supernatural, and I'm excited to show you guys that one. It's a bit different. But yeah, hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.